What's going on, guys? Matt with Lethal Camaro, and today is suspension day. Let's do it. We're going to get all over BMR, and BMR is going to get all over this beast. Everything's in the car. Let's do it. Today we are installing the full BMR suspension on the car. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the car handles. Again, we're doing upper, lower control arms, both rear and back, new sway bars, all sorts of stuff. Why is this important? A lot of it comes down to traction. A lot of it comes to torsional and all sorts of G-force pulls on the car. It's all about stiffening up the suspension, getting better traction on the road, and overall prepping my car for the additional 100 plus horsepower it's going to have once the forged bottom end goes in and the fuel system. So big shout out to BMR and Phastek Performance, who sent me all the parts for the suspension here, and looking forward to the install. So if you guys are looking to do this or have thought about it, this video will walk you through step by step, mostly how to install all the individual parts in one go. So in this instance, I'm not doing individual installs for each individual part. It's just going to be one big go. So I'll try to do timestamps down below for the different parts and pieces for those of you who are just doing one-offs, but I would fully suggest doing the full BMR setup to get the best results across the board. Let's go ahead and do it. First thing that we're doing is we're putting we're replacing the OEM brace on the bottom with the new BMR stronger one. There are two spacers that come in the package that go on the back side. Now, my stainless work setup did come with additional spacers to lift the brace away from the vehicle, but Mike and I are noticing that there's plenty of clearance, and we're gonna see if we don't actually need those, but we'll see. Doesn't move that much.
I think we're good.
At this point in the install, we're basically taking things apart. So you can see Mike is unbolting the sway bars from the end link. Yeah, that's the end link right there. Here's the stock link and the replacement. You can see it's a lot more beefier. It will be good. Okay, guys, we undid the rear sway bars. We pulled the links off as well. Or we basically did, I shouldn't say we, Mike detached the links and the sway bars from each other. Now he is pulling the rear sway bar off. So there's 4 bolts. Where am I at? So they actually bolt right up in here. There's a lower bolt here and the one that you can't see. Now, if you have a stock exhaust, these are gonna be fun to try to get to. Just throwing that out there for you guys. The stock exhaust suit cape muffler comes right into that same area, so it's gonna be really hard to unbolt it, but it's possible to do because we did it before, you know, so either or, yeah. Okay, so if you guys recall, these are the ZL1 sway bars, and here's the new one. It's obviously a lot thicker. You guys can see it side by side. It's a lot heavier. And yeah, pulling this out was kind of a trick. We ended up on the driver's, we pulled it out on the passenger side, and because of the exhaust rubber mount, we had to move that out of the way, but keep in mind, if you have an aftermarket exhaust, it might be slightly different for you. And if you have the stock exhaust, this is not going to be easy. That big suitcase is right in the way. So yeah, I think you might even have to drop the exhaust on with the stock system. I could be wrong. If you guys do it and are able to get around the stock exhaust, let me know. Okay, so at this point, we're just pulling up or taking off all the bolts for lowers and uppers and all that stuff. I don't know, what order are we doing here, Mike? Are we gonna replace them one at a time so nothing actually, the whole rear doesn't just fall off?
I don't know, I kind of want to do them all at the same time just to see if they will fall off. But no, yeah, we're probably going to end up doing like one at a time. I'll probably do both the uppers at the same time, here and here. And then we'll move down to the lower over here and then do the alignment bar last.
Putting Mike to the test. So you can see those bolts in the back. They're pretty far back there, but you can get to it. What size are those bolts?
18 millimeter.
18 mil.
Yeah.
Taking off the front upper. This is where I get an elbow in the face as a cameraman. So we've taken the front upper, and I guess we'll call this the middle upper, because there's actually quite a few parts that are in the upper area. But because these are adjustable, you want to lay these down on a bench. You want to make sure they're measured to the same distance, so that way when you're putting them back on, you're as close as they can be. But these are super light. Like, you manual guys out there, this is what's keeping your car from wheel hopping. Oh wait, it's not keeping your car from wheel hopping. You need to replace these. These are, I would say this is probably one of the culprits. This one's not so bad. It's a little bit heavier, but good Lord, this thing is like, really, GM? I mean, I know you're shaving weight, but man, but this, heavy, well, falling apart. Heavy duty, really nice. Let's get it on the car. So you can see we're doing a really rudimentary way to make sure they're exactly lined up, but lining the holes up, lining the parts up. Even eyeballing it, we were off like what? Like eighth of an inch?
It was
just enough.
It was 2 turns.
Yeah, 2 turns. So it's nice having full adjustable, but you do want to make sure they line up at least to the stock size when you put them on. And then when you go through your alignment and whatnot, you can really mess around with all the different settings. Just as FYI guys, on an adjustable setup, driving around, they will eventually vibrate loose. Maybe not everywhere, maybe not all the way, but Loctite could be a good thing for you. Super glue, whatever. But in this instance, we're foregoing it all.
Epoxy.
Because I literally have my car lined every 2 months, so. Or if I ever feel it slightly pull. Because I like having my nice expensive tires not ruined. Just so you guys know, it's inevitable with a system like this. See how there's all beautiful rubber pieces and stuff. So when you're hitting bumps and stuff, you're not really hearing metal clicking, clacking and stuff. But in this instance, because of the stiffer setup, because of the design, these metal pieces will click on here and it will make noises. You're gonna hear noises on your car that you weren't familiar with, and you're gonna think it's wrong or it's not right or something's broken. It's not. It's standard. That's what will happen. Get used to it. So in this instance, because we're aligning it all up and getting everything dialed in as straight as possible, front and back, and making sure it's the same length, we're eliminating potential risk of it happening sooner or happening at all. So I'm fully expecting clicking and weird noises coming from the back, but again, that's normal. It will happen. It's just, you got metal on metal here, and you can see that this is beveled, so it fits nicely with how it sits, but you know, it will happen. Now we got Mike removing the lower. So one thing to highlight for those of you with magnetic ride control, your mag ride is actually connected to this piece here, which we're not replacing. Now, obviously I have the plastic cover on there. I don't know why, aerodynamics maybe? I don't know, but
It was too light.
but this is, you can actually see the mag ride bar right in here. It connects right to the bottom. But we will be replacing this bar here. This is the longest one. It's actually on the floor right here. And then we just took off the smaller lower. So again, lining all this stuff up, it's really important. You don't want these fully at an angle when you're putting it on your car. You want them lined up the best way possible. So that way you give your car and yourself the most range of travel. Like these are, I mean, I get it, GM. You're saving weight, right? But they're so cheap. I mean, for what you're considering a muscle sports car? I don't know. Just like all the rest of the parts for the end links for the rear side, because we're about to slide the sway bars in, you want to make sure they all line up and are dialed into what the stock setting was at first, and then once you actually decide to align your vehicle, you can start messing with things. But the joy of having adjustable parts and pieces is the fact that it is adjustable and you can set it however you want. Okay guys, so depending on your car and how your setup is, putting the new sway bar in could be different, but basically what we're doing is we're sliding the new sway bar in place and then we'll figure out the end links. So yeah, let's see if I can do this holding the camera. Probably not. You're still good. You can still come.
Okay.
Oh, what are we hitting? We're hitting something. We're up and over. Are you? No, we're against the metal bracket right now. If we can. If you can push it forward a little bit, mine will slide forward and down.
Push it forward?
Yeah, like a ½ inch.
We're moving forward.
Towards me, sorry.
Oh, towards you?
No, maybe I'm wrong. You're good. You definitely got there, but it's now stuck in the exhaust.
Nice. Can't pull it forward?
No. No. But now you're hitting the metal bracket. There we go. Okay. I'm thinking, did it come around the inside or the outside? How did we?
What do you mean, inside or outside?
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember how we pulled it out. Did we bring that across? This comes around. I'm almost wondering if you come in the other, no, because that's not how we pulled it out, is it? Because that's just getting stuck on the exhaust right there. Because if I'm able to spin this down right here, let's see. No, there's like no play to get that to flip down.
Yeah, because I can't come your way anymore because
You're sitting on the rotor.
I am on the rotor. Yes. Oh, got it.
Wow, that works.
Okay.
What do you need?
I'm up on my side.
Okay, I'm good on mine.
All right. And that's that.
What the? I don't know what happened, but it was like, oh, yep, there we go. So I don't exactly know what happened, but we jimmied and shimmed it, and it basically fell into position. Yay! Sway bars in place. Now we're putting the mounting brackets, the bushings, all that greatness. And you'll see these have little grease spots, so when it's making all sorts of crazy noises, you can squirt some grease in around there. Putting the bushing on. Then we can get the oh, you're gonna grease that one, aren't you? So one thing that Mike is doing is he's greasing the bushing. A little pre-lube. Don't get excited, guys. Public service announcement, and something that we realized. On the backside where your sway bars go, you will notice a couple bolts are a little bit longer than others. Just remember that's where your wire harnesses clip onto, but you'll notice on the new upper arm, there's no clips like there was on the stock one. So this is where you're gonna need zip ties that did not come in the box, because you do wanna make sure the wires are nice and fastened and not flopping around in here. So we'll zip tie this to the upper arm and not have any issues. So you can see some zip ties in place already. Just gotta trim those up and we'll be good to go. There you go, final zip tie positions. Nice and clean. Now, time to get the rear links all hooked up and good to go. Okay guys, sway bars are all tightened up, but here's a little free choice information tech tip, whatever you want to call it. If your sway bar does not move freely, you did it wrong. So you want to make sure that moves freely or it will bind up, and that's not fun. Yeah, there you go. Controlling the links, or the link to the sway bar. Now it's just tightening her all up. So on the link connecting to the sway bar, actually, where are they? Oh, you got it on your wrench right here.
On the Allen?
So here's your upper one. You will use the two washers up top against the sway bar and then the bolt to lock it in position. But on the lower one, the big bolt, and I believe there is a washer down there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you'll see the washer floating around down there. And the slide pin, or the internal slide, actually, what is that? What would you call that piece?
Oh, this here is just a shim.
Yeah, the shim slides right on in there. Just sit flush up against the sway bar. So you're good to go. And then you'll have a washer in between there. And you're good. So while Mike is tightening this up, I'll go ahead and touch on one thing. These link pieces here are probably the most critical in regards to, if you remember me talking about the clinking earlier, you want that center piece lined up as center as possible so it's not chamfered either which way, because this is the number one piece that will give you clicking noises if the metal on metal is fully extended. So again, remember how we lined them up to match up to the stock ones? Dial these ones in perfect, please. And you won't hate yourself later, I promise. There you guys have it. Just put the wheels back on, everything's installed, tightened up, good to go. That is the full install for the rear setup. We did the upper, the lower arms, we did the sway bar, the links, everything. So that's all replaced with the BMR suspension. Now it's time to get an alignment and see how the car drives. So I'm gonna do a video following that up, but this was the quick install video for that. Stay tuned for the front sway bars and the links in the near future, and then my full review on how I feel the BMR suspension changed the car versus the stock and just having the Z01 sway bars. So honestly, I'll tell you right now, the Z01 sway bars, I felt a little bit of a difference, but nothing drastic that I would write home about. So we'll get into that, but until next time, thanks for watching the video. And again, if you guys have any questions, post down below, but I'll see you on the road.
It'll probably cause like a resonation through here. Cause it to like vibrate and do all kinds of weird
Component will be like, I mean, I thought mechanics knew wrench sizes and bolt sizes just by eye.
Certain times he'll look
okay.
at it and know it.
Because Mike is such a small guy, he could fit right on in there.
Son of a